Ticket Machine is the official ticket broker of Spartan Nation. No matter what you need a ticket for, border to border, coast to coast, the Ticket Machine is your ticket source. So whether you need to get into the hottest concerts, the best sporting events, you want the best seats in the house, or you just want to get in the door, when you want to go to any event that requires a ticket, anywhere, border to border, coast to coast, it's always theticketmachine.com. Theticketmachine.com, 517-655-3201. Check it out today at theticketmachine.com.
Welcome back, Spartan Nation. Man, I can't believe we're 2 games into the season and this guy hasn't been here. I will apologize. He will start making his weekly visits if he'll still grace us with his presence. The one, the only, the doctor of greatness, Coach Chuck Grenier. Coach, how are you, bud?
Doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's always good to talk to you. As you know, each and every week I have you on through football and basketball. We talk about the good, the bad, and the indifferent on Spartan Sports. We're going to talk, obviously, just football today. I want to start with the defense, where I think has been very good. I mean, they gave up 16 points. Their goal is 17 or less a game. I mean, you're going to win most games if you hold a team to 16. You go to the other game, Utah State, which was getting plays off at about the rate of 7 seconds of play, which is amazing. And they really only gave up 24 against probably the best true attack style offense they're going to see without their best corner. I think one of the highlights of this team has been the defense. I know some people disagree. I think they've been great. Your thoughts?
No, I thought they've been playing pretty good. That Utah State game, again, there was 7 points that Michigan State gave up on a pick six, too. So take that into consideration.
On what, Coach? Coach, your phone.
The pick six.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying they really only gave up 24.
Yeah. So, they're doing a great job there. I think Spartan Nation may get a little frustrated. I know what the defensive philosophy is. It's to keep the game in front of you, don't let them get behind you. And when they throw those 3rd and 8 passes and complete them, they get some frustration to Spartan Nation. But other than that, they're definitely stopping the run totally and just playing all together good team defense.
Coach, when you still talk about the things that are good, I think the MSU wide receivers are very good. They're not getting a ton of numbers, but I think a lot of that has to do with stuff we're going to get to in the bad. But I'm very impressed with the MSU receivers. How about you?
Yeah, all 3 of the starters out there have been doing a tremendous job. I mean, you throw the ball practically anywhere in the vicinity of Davis, and he catches the ball. Cody White is just a nightmare to contain. And the 3rd wide receiver, I'm losing his name right now.
Darrell Stewart.
Yeah, Stewart is he's tough to bring down once he catches the ball. Those wide receivers are doing a great job for Michigan State.
Coach, again, we're talking about the good, the bad, and the indifferent. I think when you're talking about good, how about MSU kickoffs, and how about MSU's kicking game with Matt Coughlin? I mean, again. Those 2 have been extraordinary.
Yeah, special teams has really been a good, a good to real good, if you want to put it on that kind of meter. No problems with the field goal teams, the punt teams. Everything is really clicking well with special teams.
Moving to the bad before we get to the offensive line, in which we're going to spend a ton of time. The bad is the loss of Jake Hartbarger, an NFL punter. I mean, that's bad to lose him. He hasn't been bad, but obviously the injury.
Yeah, the injury and the lack of getting a penalty for that. I mean, that was just a double whammy on one play there for you. And hopefully that Lombardi is going to be able to pick up some of that slack or a lot of that slack. But, yeah, that was a tremendous loss. That is a weapon to have a Hartbarger.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We're talking to the one, the only, the great one, Coach Chuck Grenier. Coach, I want to get in a little bit, we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And my last good has really been the defensive coaches, which I thought have really shined this year. Your thoughts on the defensive coaching?
Well, I don't think they've lost a step, to tell you. After Narduzzi left, then you had Barnett take over that, And I think what has been probably the shining light of this whole turnover of defensive coordinators has been that they've been here for so long. They're they have the great knowledge of the defense. They've been there. They've done that. So they're just continuing what Michigan State has been doing for 10 years now, 11 years now. So there hasn't been a
We're talking to the great coach. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, one other thing. One of the problems I thought going into the season was going to be that defensive end position where there was nobody coming back on the other side of Willikes. I think Bull has done a tremendous job of bringing Camper along. Camper's still a little raw. You can see that out there, but Camper's doing really good. And then getting another hit when Jacob went down over there on that side, too. And he didn't make the trip, I don't believe, last game. So I think he's doing a really good job with Camper.
I agree with you there. Coach, I want to get into now the bad. Again, you know, we're going to get into it some more, but let's just go to it. The offensive line has been terrible. There's no way getting around. Other than Kevin Jarvis, they've just been horrible. I mean, agree or disagree?
No, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I think one of the major problems that we have on the offensive line right now is part of the play calling. I'm going to go with that a little bit on that one, too. But I think technique-wise, I think we come off the ball high and catch way too much. And I was watching the Wisconsin game with a friend of mine, and at one point I froze the TV screen, and I said, look at that. And what the Wisconsin line did was, at the point of impact, stayed their pad level low. They had their feet moving. And at that point, when I froze the camera was on the football field that time, the offensive line had completely cleared the defensive line out of the picture. We don't get that. We don't get any push off the line of scrimmage. And the other part I would think on that is play calling. And I don't know if we're going to get back into that a little bit later, but we're pretty predictable in certain times of the game. For instance, red zone. We're really predictable on what we do on there. And at Arizona State, they played it to the hilt there. So,
Coach, let's talk about it. Obviously, how do you rate play calling?
Well, I thought going down the field, it's superb. I thought, hey, they're really mixing it up and throw a little of this in there, a little bit of that, a pass here, a pass there. That's really good. But to get inside the red zone, and we just go back to that old thing again, we're going to be, we're just going to force this ball in off tackle. And Arizona State last week was just waiting on that. I mean, how many times were we down there and got stuffed on an off tackle play, just trying to be, big and bad about it instead of being a little bit more creative. When the game had to be won against Utah State, we got backed up a little bit and they went to the option, ran three options in a row and scored off that. But we got down against Arizona State, and I thought we're going to be running off tackle. Arizona State playing the 3-5-3. They had the two linebackers off the tackle end gap and just crashed those areas there and stuffed us. So it gets a little predictable in certain areas where I guess we offensively tighten up a little. And Arizona State, again, played that one to the hilt, too. They scouted us well.
Coach, I don't know if you saw it, but I wrote a War Room article last week in which I asked an NFL executive and a college coach to assess our offense. And the NFL executive is friends with Herm Edwards. And Herm told him they had worked a ton in practice on the MSU option and were greatly concerned about it. And were stunned that Michigan State did not use it more. Were you shocked Michigan State didn't use it more?
Nobody practices the option anymore, hardly. Nobody hardly runs the option anymore. And when Michigan State ran that against Utah State, they were totally unprepared for it. And why we wouldn't run it again, and I think this goes to old school thinking. Well, we showed that. We can't do that. They're going to be over prepping for it. And let's just run this. Well, I was shocked. I thought, here's an offense that you can't really prepare a team that doesn't face options all the time for the option. It just happens too fast. Things just don't coordinate on the defensive players. So, yeah, I was shocked that they didn't run the option. I really was.
We're talking with Coach Chuck Grenier, the good, the bad, and the indifferent or undecided when it comes to MSU football. So, Coach, the offensive line obviously has struggled. How about tight end production? That's been atrocious, and it was last year going into this year.
I thought this year with Lewerke, a year older, playing and a year older into the offense, that and Dot's coming along, that I thought the tight end would become more involved. Now, you saw in the Arizona State game, I think they threw the ball to tight ends twice.
Yep.
And one was high and wide, and the other one was off the hands in the end zone for an interception. If you don't get your tight ends involved in the offense in college ball, if you don't get them running down the seam and backing off and getting the defensive coverage deeper, I think you run into a lot of problems, and especially with your running game. But you've got to be throwing to the tight ends. You've got to be running those seam routes. You've got to be running out routes. Just give the defense more things to cover, give them more problems to prepare for, and other things will open up. But yeah, it's really depressing to see that 2 years in a row that, and if you're not going to throw to the tight ends, just go to a Michigan offense and just keep a tight end in there and get more blocking for your quarterback, I guess. But no.
Well, why recruit a tight end? Just go recruit an extra offensive tackle. But, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, good point. We're talking to Coach Chuck Grenier. We're getting into and talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. But is there anything on this team you're indifferent about? Like you don't have an opinion yet? You still haven't seen enough?
Well, I think I did say that Camper was doing a better job in Panazuk when he gets back, if he gets back pretty soon. I think that defensive end, I don't know if that's been fixed yet. Now, Camper, on one play last week against Arizona State, to show you his rawness on this, he had an inside slant to the quarterback on that, and his eyes lit up, and he was going to just assassinate that quarterback back there. But there was a blocker, and he seemed to be indifferent to the blocker, and the blocker just chipped him and pushed him off. The quarterback sidestepped him, and he didn't get the sack. So I think more practice, more experience in that defensive end, and I think Camper is going to come around realizing that you just can't avoid all contact at that point. So I think that is a little bit in the indifference, if that's come along yet. I think on the defensive side that I have a problem with is we played two teams that want to get rid of the ball real quick. And Utah State was another one. I couldn't believe 8-9 seconds in between plays. That was just unreal. But anyway, I think the thing that I worry about or to think about with the defense is sucking up a little bit more on the receivers, because we have a great defensive line. I mean, those guys, Williams and Panazuk, are just animals up there. But they can't get to the quarterback in 10, 12 seconds. So if you suck up a little bit more on the pass coverage, give those guys an opportunity to get to the quarterback, I think that is a little bit on the indifference, or I guess semi-ugly, that I like. I just hate seeing 3rd and 8 and having them completed all the time. So other than that, yeah, that's about it as the indifferent.
He is Coach Chuck Grenier, Spartan Nation contributor for many years. We know him. We love him. We'll be right back. We love him. We'll be right back. We love